There's a dark cloud over this year's World Press Freedom Day. Women journalists around the world are attacked and bullied online. This can lead to some serious psychological effects, but police and other authorities usually offer little support to the victims. Well, Mahlase, Secretary General of the South African National Editors Forum, joining us to discuss this. Very worrying indeed. Mahlase, good evening, and thanks for your time. And very disappointing, I must say, that in 2021, this is what we're seeing, this is what we're hearing is happening to our female colleagues. I mean, you're a woman in charge of a very successful newsroom. What's been your experience in this regard?
Good evening, and thank you for having us and giving us the opportunity to talk about this very important topic. I think it's important, though, to say that, the bullying of women, or maybe the misogyny that we are now seeing online, dates back even before the internet times. I think women reporters have reported over the years of how they've been sexually harassed by newsmakers, by when they're out in the field, by community members, where people have commented on their looks, have commented on basically the fact that they should come dressed in a particular way. And all of these things we've seen directed at women. And what we're now seeing with the advent of technology and also social media, we are seeing the cyberbullying specifically of women and the misogyny continuing there. I mean, I say that the social media, part of it has become a cesspool of insults, of misogyny, and some of even politicians are basically using the platform to try and silence women by all of these threats and attacks. And they are real, they're quite disappointing, and we've seen women even sexualized on social media. And all of it, we know that it's not innocent, as some people might want to argue, but it's actually directed and trying to silence women journalists and trying to body shame them, trying to make sure that they don't report as critically as they should. And we know that this has lasting effect on their mental health.
And let's talk about that. I mean, what has been? I mean, you deal with a lot of women, young and of all other ages. You've been in the industry for so long. When it comes to PTSD, I mean, what's been the impact? Has it affected their work? Has it made women more determined?
I think the first thing is how it affects their work. Which is some of them start to self-censor so that they can avoid the eye of those who don't want them to be critical in their reporting. We know that there are a lot younger journalists who've seen all of these attacks on all the journalists and have decided, to protect myself from the insults, the threats, the misogyny. I will self-censor and report on certain stories and leave out others. We have seen in the past few years a growing number of young female journalists, and they also continue to report what the impact of this on their mental state. The reality, though, is also that even when newsrooms do offer some mental health support, not everybody will easily accept it, and that's something that we need to be tackling in newsrooms to make women realize that this has lasting impact on their mental health, and we need to actually be open about it and start talking about it. But I think that it has quite a lasting impact on the kind of work that they choose to do and how they actually do their work, and that's even more worrying. And also now when they don't easily accept the help in terms of dealing with their mental status, that can also be damaging. We've ran workshops as SANEF calling to try and start the conversations around mental health. Not everybody has responded positively, but we know that a lot of women are really struggling with the cyberbullying online.
Well, just as worrying then, Mahlatse, is what's being reported as the lack of support for these women from their employers and even law enforcement. I mean, that seems to be probably one of the places where we need to actually start to fix this, is why our employers, or some of them, let's not say all, some of them not giving their female journalists the support. And law enforcement, I mean, seriously, especially now when we're looking at GBV and it's been top of the list of priorities for government.
I know that in the past, especially in this past year, when journalists have been struggling with the mental effects of COVID, reporting on death all the time, and despair that they have seen, a lot of newsrooms have really moved to ensure that there is support. There is psycho support for many journalists in the newsroom, but not all of them have that support. And we have to continue to ensure and call on employers to make sure that there is support for journalists. I think with the police, we have seen this over time where, reporters are attacked and we encourage them to go and lay charges, but nobody's ever prosecuted. I think if we look at the number of attacks on media and you look at how many have been prosecuted, the number just doesn't match at all. And that has been a worrying trend. I think in South Africa, though, the other challenge that we are facing is recognizing that what we are seeing on social media is actually a crime. And we are hoping that authorities will actually come to the party and prioritize this, because if people go on and are not prosecuted, we will not see a stop to it. But I think to the women journalists, it's important for them to recognize this is a serious problem, and also where there is help offered, they must please shout out for help, and we as editors must ensure that they do get the help.
And you did say, Sanef, you've run various workshops based on this, but do you think now it's time for you to take that even further, and especially when it comes to them feeling that they can't report these things because nothing is going to be done? Is that something that you will look at more closely in future?
We definitely are. We are partnering with SADC, for example, with the hope of rolling out even more of the workshops, because I think it's important that we bring women together to be able to speak about their experiences and to also shed the load. And also, I think importantly, to give them those signposts in terms of how to know when you are now struggling and just need help. And I think most importantly to say that, you are not alone in this situation, but we are finding that more and more women are struggling with this. And we are going to be rolling out more of those, as I said, in our partnership with SADC, because we have prioritized mental health as a serious challenge and something that needs to be addressed.